Ladies and gents, welcome back. The redefinition of terms, the redefinition of words has been used as a political tool. It's most famously noted in the dystopian novel by George Orwell, 1984, where the political class would redefine words in order to manipulate the masses. Now, in recent times, we've seen it used by politicians and political activists on the left to redefine terms to bend reality to fit someone's political viewpoint. Now, yesterday in the Emergencies Act inquiry, we saw this type of behavior used by law enforcement. Now, yesterday, Ottawa Police Chief Bell taking the opportunity to redefine the word violence in his testimony for the Emergencies Act inquiry. And we have a clip here of Brendan Miller examining the witness here, Chief Bell, as he had his testimony at the Emergencies Act hearing. And we'll just play what he had to say here.
Morris, already you sort of touched on that, and he had stated that the lack of violence in Ottawa during the protest was actually shocking.
So I don't recall that statement.
All right.
So you don't recall that? He didn't recall the statement, and this is the statement that was being recalled here. And this is Patrick Morris. The lack of violent crime during the Ottawa protest was shocking. This is what he said in his testimony.
The arrests and the charges and stuff to try and ascertain how accurate we were. And there was, I would say, the lack of violent crime was shocking. Even in the arrests and charges, considering the whole thing in totality, I think there were 10 charges for violent crime, 6 of which were against police officers.
And that was through the whole protest. So that, of course, is intelligence officer Patrick Morris. Now, here's the rest of the statement here by Bell.
So is it fair to say that when you use the phrase violence, you're not actually describing any form of physical assaults, are you?
Well, physical assaults do contribute to what I'm describing. I was specifically describing the violence that our community felt as a result of the culmination of actions that the occupiers engaged in.
So the violence that they felt, not actual violence. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct. Not the criminal code definition of violence, but the violence that they felt by having incessant horns blared.
Right. And
by having trucks run 24/7 a day.
Right.
By having people intimidate them and follow them, and by having people rip masks off their head, by feeling sheltered in their homes.
Well, thank you. I understand what you mean. But you're not talking about violence under Section 2 of the Emergencies Act, are you?
No, I'm not.
Thanks.
So here, this is testimony from a police chief, the one in charge of the entire Ottawa police outfit, now redefining terms and using the word violence and he knows what's happening here, that violence, when people hear that word, they're assuming that he's talking about the legal definition of violence, but he's redefining the term for violence here. We had Robin, the Russian bot on Twitter, putting out there, I think they have surpassed their quota of redefined words. We've got blockade has been redefined, occupation has been redefined, insurrection, armada, extremism, freedom, hostage or hostages, a weapon, aka a truck. We heard about this from Fleury when he testified, saying that these were weapons. The trucks were used as weapons. And then new word, microaggression. Now we're talking about violence as being a thing that is not actually its redefined term, violence. And of course, a lot of people losing their mind during this whole event, and then actually advocating for violence of their own. We have here Diane Deans during the convoy actually saying that she wanted to do stuff to these people.
I mean, I was just aghast this weekend that, there's a bouncy castle and there's a hot tub. David, I wanted to go up there and poke that hot tub myself and let the water flow out of it and unplug that damn bouncy castle, because it's just a symbol of the frustration that's gone on for 19 days in the Capitol. So yes, We are making changes to do everything that we can do to end this illegal occupation of our city. I mean,
saying that would be violence is hyperbolic. So she didn't actually advocate for violence against these people. But again, this is she's talking about hot tubs and bouncy castles. This is the world we're living in now, and this, of course, is Chief Bell when he took over as interim chief. This is him at a press conference during the convoy, in his words.
If you are involved in this protest, we will actively look to identify you and follow up with financial sanctions and criminal charges. Absolutely. This investigation will go on for months to come. If you are involved.
So, again, Tom Marazzo replying to my tweet out there saying Police Chief Bell taking the opportunity to redefine words, the violence, in his testimony for the Emergencies Act inquiry. 5 charges related to violent actions in the 16 days leading up to the Emergencies Act. Not exactly extraordinary, not even remotely something related to Section 2 of the CSIS Act. So take with a grain of salt when you hear in these testimonies now. We have to take with a grain of salt new redefined versions of these words, especially when you're talking about violence, things like that. We need to actually hear what these individuals define these words as, not always being the traditional definitions of these words. Again, Police Chief Bell's definition of violence in his testimony was not talking about the legal definition of violence, but his own definition of violence, which would include the feelings of not uncomfort due to protesters. Now, we had other police testimonies destroying, as we see here, the need for the Emergencies Act. So if you're paying attention to this, you're waiting for that the smoking gun. The smoking gun would be the justification for why they used the Emergencies Act in the first place against a peaceful protest that took place in Ottawa back in February of 2022 in Ottawa, Canada. We have yet to have that, but we have a lot of police giving testimony as to why they did not need it.
You didn't see any evidence in the intelligence of espionage or in support of espionage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Sabotage or anything in support of sabotage?
That's correct.
Foreign influenced activities within or relating to Canada that involved the threat to any person?
I saw media accounts, yes. I saw no information collected or intelligence produced in that regard, no. To support that, no.
Activities within or relating to Canada directed toward or in support of the threat of a use of acts of serious violence against persons for the purpose of achieving a political, religious, or ideological objective within Canada or a foreign state?
I'm aware of no intelligence that was produced that would support concern in that regard.
Activities within or relating to Canada directed toward or in support of the threat of use of acts of serious violence against property for the purpose of achieving a political, religious, or ideological objective within Canada or a foreign state?
Did we have any credible intelligence that that would occur? No. I would say the lack of violent crime was shocking. Even in the arrests and charges, considering the whole thing in totality, I think there were 10 charges for violent crime, 6 of which were against police officers.
The Emergencies Act made us more confident in the approach we were taking and enabled us to, get past the issues of whether it was the seizing of assets. I think that was helpful in terms of setting a tone for some of the people who may be deterred by that. And the tow trucks specifically was the piece that I remember being very helpful. And, the red zone, we were moving in there regardless, but the Emergencies Act was helpful.
That's the requirement to swear in officers from other jurisdiction, which saved a bit of time. And 2, it helped to procure the services of heavy rig tow truck operators. Is that fair characterization of your testimony?
Of my testimony, yes. I do
Yes.
believe, though, the seizing of assets was also helpful.
Can you expand on that?
So the threat of seizing assets of
Oh, right.
bank accounts and rigs and things like that.
Okay. Useful, but not necessary.
Yeah, useful but not necessary.
I saw no
There you go. There you have it. Useful, but not necessary. And that's the conclusion here. Redefining of terms to help try to justify actions, but not justifying the use of the Emergencies Act in this case. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Of course, as always, links in the description if you want to check out the videos that I shared here. And we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.